Hi, I'm James Maccoun, Chief of Police at Roseville Police Department. Today is June 2nd, 2020, and I've gotten a lot of inquiries from our local Roseville community about the death of George Floyd. And I just want to make the statement publicly that no one in law enforcement here at Roseville PD, no one at law enforcement in California believes that the actions that were taken in Minneapolis were appropriate within common police training, and quite frankly, they are reprehensible. With that said, I'm glad that I've got these questions and interest in policing because it shines a spotlight on what we do in this agency and in this state. And so I'd like to provide some information to help those who had questions and concerns and give you some tools and resources to get the research and answers that you've asked me. I've gotten a myriad of questions, and this video is not going to allow me to take the time to answer all of them. And unfortunately, if it wasn't for COVID-19, we'd probably do a community forum or meeting to allow those individual questions to be responded to. So I'll attempt to do it in the video. So first of all, our duty here at the Roseville Police Department is to protect this entire community. One of our core values is constitutional policing, and the other one is care for the community. And I'm standing in a simulator room that we created to help us accomplish these missions. This room was built by the labor of Roseville police officers and staff and help from our own Roseville city fleet. And I'm standing in front of a little car that I'd just like to highlight for a moment that is a 1/4 part of a real police car that officers can sit in while they're in this simulator room and respond out of to different situations. So it's a fully interactive video simulator. We have other tools here in the use of force world to test them and critique them. And I don't want to get too deep into the use of force simulator, but just one effort that we have done to make our commitment in training. So I'd like to start off with my philosophy and the philosophy of this agency as to how you prevent bad acts by police officers. First of all, you hire and select the very best. You vet them carefully. You do careful backgrounds, and you don't just hire anybody, right? So you hire the best, you give them good training. We send them to the best police academy we believe in the area. We ensure that they get continual training after they're here at our agency. We have a very good training budget. We have great training staff, and we try to do a lot of our training in-house. For instance, our use of force program here, we have a California Post certificate that allows us to teach the instructors from around the state. So people send their personnel here and we certify them as instructors for the rest of the state. And we have that permit, that authority from the state of California, California Post. So you hire the best, you give them training, you give them oversight. Everybody needs oversight. And part of that oversight is supervision, and we have a great supervisory team. And we also have a means for investigating complaints, and we document every type of use of force. And we have the software and the programs to do that and track it. We have early intervention if we ever see an issue. And it's been exceptionally rare since I've been here at Roseville PD. So you hire the best, you give them training, you give them oversight, and you encourage them through good leadership to go forward and serve the community. One of the questions we got right off the bat is about body cameras. So I want to cover that first off, because body cameras did not prevent the events that occurred in Minneapolis. They don't prevent the events that we see in other places. Body cameras are a valuable tool, but they don't prevent bad acts. We see it all the time. So Roseville had a program for in-car camera video 10 years ago. There was a poor selection in a vendor and a product, and quite frankly, the program failed. The equipment had to be taken out of the vehicles. About that time, the recession hit Roseville, and the budget was lost to support that technology. Moving forward, the city began to grow, and the continued costs went up, and now we find ourselves 10 years later, and I'll be very honest, Roseville does not have a body camera or in-car camera program at this time. And the reason is, it would be about $1.2 million per year, at least, for us to move forward and get back into that system, that type of system. That's because of the storage, the unknown expense of storage, years of storage, the size of the agency, and the fact that we'd have to hire staff to redact video provided to all kinds of different sources. So now we're in the middle of a pandemic. We've had open discussions with city leadership and the city council at last year's budget meeting, and we're in a situation where it's just too expensive, and we need the people more than we need the technology. And again, I believe with solid core values, solid oversight, those are the things that prevent bad acts. So let me move to the common questions we've received and how we're going to answer some of those after this video for you. So I've gotten questions on use of force policy, everything you can imagine. So first off, we provide to you on our website our entire policy manual, and we're also going to provide you links to our training documents that are listed and posted and certified with California Peace Officer Standards and Training. So a lot of questions on the policy, all those answers are going to be available, and you can look them up and review them. They're public documents for you to review. Our training synopsis information is also going to be available. It is stored with the California Post. It's been approved by the state. You're going to get links to look at that. Selection. As I said, we carefully vet the people, the officers that work for this agency. We do our best to recruit the very best. Thorough backgrounds. They're about the size of a telephone book, if not a big old telephone book, because I'm dating myself. They're huge. We send background investigators around the country. We polygraph people. We have psychological exams. It's a comprehensive review before we put anybody in our uniform. So, accountability. We have a use of force review process for every use of force. We have a very high standard for making sure that every use of force is documented. And quite frankly, most of the time somebody else has video of our use of force. Frequently there's third-party video either from a fixed camera, a bystander, things like that. But we review all aspects, all witnesses of every use of force. And we put in a special software product known as Blue Team, which tracks it, and we also attempt to make sure that we don't have an individual overusing force or maybe who has a training issue so that we can rapidly adjust or correct that issue if we discover one. De-escalation. So de-escalation is very, very important, and we have been practicing and training in that for the last several years, and that's why we're in this facility. So that officers just aren't yelling, like 5 officers, on one suspect, aren't just yelling commands. How do we assign the roles? Who is responsible for lethal force if necessary and appropriate? Who's responsible for intermediate levels of force? Who is going to attempt to negotiate with the offender? All those things are practiced in this room and in other scenarios. We have another off-site training facility over at the city courtyard, and this is done regularly. We certify and document all this training. Early intervention, I think I already mentioned. We have a means electronically to make sure that no individual is overusing a tactic, a technique, or being involved in use of force more often than their peers. So what you're going to find at the end of this video is links to connect with our policies and procedures, which have not long, but as of this year, were posted online in compliance with state regulation. You're going to get access to our training records through California Post. And we're also going to give you access to our last 2 years of annual summary for the Roseville Police Department. So the annual summary is going to have our core values stated in there. It's going to have information on our internal affairs, summary statistics, our crime statistics, some use of force information, and some other information you might find useful about the Roseville Police Department. So again, I hope you found this video useful. I hope it helped answer some of your questions, and we appreciate the dialogue, and we look forward to continued discussions on this topic for those who have concerns. Thank you.